The horizon glows with a brilliance that does not come from the sun but from towers of glass and steel that pierce the sky, their spires lost in the mist of the upper atmosphere. The world of tomorrow hums with a rhythm so seamless that it feels like the heartbeat of a living organism. Streets no longer echo with footsteps or wheels but with the quiet glide of automated vehicles, their engines whispering rather than roaring. Above, the skies are filled with the graceful arcs of drones, weaving invisible patterns as they ferry goods, scan landscapes, and keep an ever-watchful eye on the city below. This is not the world of imagination or prophecy, it is the inevitable face of a civilization that has learned to harness every resource, every element of nature, and bend it into a new order. Humanity, once chained by disease, hunger, and war, now strides forward into an age that appears unshakable, its foundation stronger than any pyramid, its vision stretching farther than any empire. The air itself seems alive with information. Invisible networks connect every person, every machine, every heartbeat into a web of knowledge. A child born into this world carries in their hands more information than all the libraries of the ancient world combined. Diseases that once crippled and killed whole generations are mere whispers of the past. Their cure is woven into genetic codes and nanomachines that patrol the bloodstream like silent guardians. The elderly no longer fade into weakness. Age has been slowed, perhaps even conquered, allowing lifespans to stretch far beyond what any of our ancestors dared to imagine. Death itself, the eternal shadow, has been pushed back by the stubborn brilliance of human will. Cities are no longer built on flat plains or clustered by rivers. They rise into the clouds, anchored by foundations that burrow deep into the earth and tethered to energy sources drawn from the heart of the planet or the endless fire of the sun. Oceans, once feared for their storms and depths, now host floating metropolis as vast platforms where people live, work, and dream above the waves. The deserts bloom with green, irrigated by rivers redirected with precision and care, or by machines that pull water directly from the air. Even the frozen poles, once lifeless and uninhabitable, shimmer with domes of glass and steel where life thrives despite the cold. The earth, once seen as fragile and at risk, has been reshaped into a sanctuary that can sustain billions without exhausting itself. Beyond Earth, the human hand has reached further still. Colonies cling to the barren soil of Mars, their domes glittering under an alien sky. Orbiting stations circle both the Earth and its sister planets, spinning slowly as artificial worlds filled with gardens, rivers, and homes suspended among the stars. Probes have sailed beyond the reach of the solar system, carrying with them the whispers of our existence, messages etched in metal and code, destined for encounters with whatever eyes may one day find them. To live in this time is to feel infinite, to believe that humanity has finally escaped the cycle of rise and fall that claimed the Egyptians, the Maya, the Mesopotamians. Here, people think, is the last civilization, the one that will never be forgotten. And yet, beneath the perfection, shadows linger. The monuments of this era are not stone pyramids that weather the centuries nor statues carved into cliffs that stand through wind and rain. They are satellites, servers, and machines as fragile in their brilliance, vulnerable to decay. A single pulse of radiation, a failure of power, a collapse of the networks that bind it all together could erase vast portions of memory in an instant. A billion books once burned in Alexandria, yet fragments survived to remind the world of their existence. What happens when the archives of this civilization, entirely digital, intangibly vanish in silence, leaving no ashes, no ruins, only absence? The cities of glass may crumble, steel may rust, and data may fade to nothing, leaving the future with monuments of silence. Even now, amid the glitter of progress, there are those who ask questions others avoid. They look at the towers and the networks and wonder if this too is an illusion of permanence. They point to the ruins of civilizations past, the remnants of once great empires that thought themselves eternal. The Maya charted the stars with uncanny accuracy, yet their cities fell silent. The Romans built roads and aqueducts that spanned continents, yet their empire fractured into dust. The Egyptians raised monuments to outlast eternity, and while their pyramids remain, the voices of their builders have long since been silenced. Why should this civilization, so certain of its place, believe itself different? The answer lies perhaps not in its structures but in its memory. Humanity today records everything, captures every second in images, videos, and texts, storing them in archives that span the globe. But will the future be able to access them? What is a record worth if the tools to read it no longer exist? Ancient stone can be read with the naked eye, but what happens when future generations discover corrupted drives, meaningless streams of binary code with no keys to unlock them? Will they look upon the skeletal remains of skyscrapers as we do upon the ruins of temples, asking who we were, what we believed, and why we thought ourselves immortal? Yet, despite the doubts, this civilization continues to rise, driven by the same flame that has always carried humanity forward, the refusal to yield to limitation. Each invention, each leap forward, is a declaration of defiance against time, an insistence that humanity will not be forgotten. The towers, the space stations, the colonies on alien soil all are built not just to serve the present but to declare to the future, we were here, and we mattered. Whether they succeed or fail, whether their monuments survive or vanish, the effort itself is the mark of greatness. As the sun sets behind the towers of glass, their reflections blaze like fire across the sky, and the city below shimmers as though made of light itself. In that glow lies both triumph and fragility, a reminder that every civilization shines brightest before time dims its flame. The people who walk these streets do so with confidence, believing they are part of the last and greatest chapter of human history. Perhaps they are right, perhaps they are wrong, but one truth endures: like all who came before, they are writing their story in the hope that it will never be forgotten. This is the world of tomorrow, the civilization that believes itself eternal, the one that builds not with stone but with light and code, not with temples but with machines that reach for the stars. It may indeed be the last civilization to be forgotten, or it may, like all the others, be reduced to echoes and ruins. Only time, relentless and merciless, will decide which.